הוא מתכוון לכל מילה ומילה. אם החמאס לא ישחרר את
That's Israel's defense minister earlier today warning that the, quote, gates of hell will open in Gaza if Hamas doesn't release the hostages. Health officials in Gaza say at least 25 people were killed in 2 overnight airstrikes on homes in Khan Yunis in southern Gaza. Israel says it'll pause military actions from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. today in 3 parts of Gaza as it faces growing international criticism over the crisis in that region. Health officials, meantime, in Gaza say dozens of people have died of malnutrition in recent weeks. A group of 25 countries, including Canada, last week condemned what's being described as the drip feeding of aid and said that Israel's denial of essential humanitarian aid was unacceptable. It comes as France has said it will officially recognize a Palestinian state at the big United Nations General Assembly coming up in New York City in September. Jon Allen is a former Canadian ambassador to Israel. He's joining me now. He's also a senior fellow at the Bill Graham Center for Contemporary International History. Ambassador Allen, good to see you. Always a pleasure. Thanks for your time.
My pleasure.
Can I ask you a little bit about this conference going on at the United Nations and the significance of it in your mind?
Well, it has a short-term goal, which is, I am sure all of the member states there, the foreign ministers, will be calling on Israel and Hamas to reach a ceasefire deal as fast as possible, and calling on Israel to allow as much food and other humanitarian assistance into the Gaza Strip as possible and as quickly as possible. The longer-term goals are really, as you've heard, to promote the two-state solution, which, as the minister said, is the only way that the 7.5 million Jews in the region and the 7.5 million Arabs are going to be able to live in peace and in stability. And then finally, there will inevitably be a discussion about recognition of Palestine as a state. As you mentioned and you've heard, France has indicated it will. 147 countries have already recognized Palestine as a state. And I think it's likely that others like Canada and Australia and New Zealand may follow France in this regard.
The other thing I'm curious about, John, I'm just doing some reading here about what's at stake, is you know, the French factor and France officially recognizing come September, and the impact or not you think that may have on other countries. We know that some other smaller European countries have already done this, but France is big, and I know that the Americans and the Israelis have been trying to prevent this, President Emmanuel Macron from doing this, but he believes it is the right step forward. What does that mean here in sort of the larger context?
Well, I think it means that I'll just set the background. The background is that the United States and Israel keeps arguing that recognition of a Palestinian state should only come once there's an agreement between Israel and Palestine. And yet at the same time, Prime Minister Netanyahu told President Trump 10 days ago that he's not interested in a Palestinian state and won't be working towards one. And his ministers are trying to annex the West Bank, which will be the end of a two-state solution. So from my perspective, and I think from the perspective of France and Ireland and Spain and Norway and others who may recognize Palestine, it's saying to Israel and Palestine, we do believe that two states is the only way. We don't think Israel should have a veto over this, especially if they're not working towards two states. And we want to give the Palestinians some hope that if they can get their act together, if there's some good governance that can be developed, if they have free and fair elections, if we get a younger group of Palestinians involved, that two states is possible.
John, I want to thank you for your time and appreciate you taking the time, as always, for CTV. We'll see how this one plays out, my friend.
Thanks very much.
Jon Allen is a former Canadian ambassador to Israel.